Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, at the very moment when everything seems to go from bad to worse, it is then that we must make a supreme act of faith and know that the grace will never fail us. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Question and Answers, Volume 4, page 97, date 10th Feb 1951. Question, sweet mother, are there any signs which indicate that one is ready for the path, especially if one has no spiritual teacher? For this, our Divine Mother says yes. The most important indication is a perfect equality of soul in all circumstances. It is an absolute, indispensable basis, something very quiet, calm, peaceful, the feeling of a great force. Not the quietness that comes from inertia, but the sensation of a concentrated power, which keeps you always steady, whatever happens, even in circumstances which may appear to you the most terrible in your life. That is the first sign. A second sign, says our Divine Mother, you feel completely imprisoned in your ordinary normal consciousness. You feel completely imprisoned in your ordinary normal consciousness, as in something extremely hard, something suffocating and intolerable, as though you had to pierce a hole in a brass wall. And the torture becomes almost unbearable. It is stifling. There is an inner effort to break through, and you cannot manage to break through. This also is one of the first signs. It means that your inner consciousness has reached a point where its outer mold is much too small for it. The mold of ordinary life, ordinary activities, ordinary relations, all that becomes so small, so petty, you feel within you a force to break all that. Our Divine Mother says there is yet another sign. When you concentrate and have an aspiration, you feel something coming down into you. You receive an answer. You feel a light, a force coming down almost immediately. You need not wait or spend a very long time. Nothing but an inner aspiration, a call, and the answer comes. This also means that the relation has been well established. Question, sweet mother, is there an upsetting when the force descends? Does it mean that the vital is not ready, and should it not be forced to be ready? For this, our Divine Mother says, how can you force it? It escapes through your fingers, so to say. Your will thinks it has caught it, and it eludes you. It is difficult to control. And force it to what? To be ready? All that you will be able to get from it is that it will become inert. That is, it will hide in a corner, not stir anymore, any longer, and let the storm pass. Because for it, the contact with the divine forces is like a storm. And when it sees that the crisis is over, it will react. Here we are, it is my turn. Our Divine Mother says, if you are upset, it means that you have still much work to do upon your vital before it can get ready. It means there is a weakness somewhere. For some, the weakness is in the mind. I knew a boy in France who was a fine musician. He used to play the violin admirably, but his brain was not very big. It was just big enough to help him in his music, nothing more. He used to come to our spiritual meetings, and all of a sudden, he had the experience of the infinite in the finite. It was absolutely true experience. In the finite individual came the experience of the infinite. But this upset the boy so much that he could not make anything at all of it. He could not even play his music any longer. The experience had to be stopped because it was too powerful for him. This is an instance where the mind was too weak. He had the experience truly, not the idea. One must have the experience before the idea. For most men think only with words. If you put two contradictory ideas together, they no longer understand, while the experience is quite possible. So the mind must be a little wide, a little supple, and quiet. Instead of feeling immediately that everything you were thinking of is now escaping you, you wait very quietly for something in your head to begin to understand the content of the experience. Our Divine Mother says there are people, many, who are weak in their vital being. When they have the sensation of infinity, eternity in their very small person, in their very little strength, it is so different from the impression they have constantly that they understand nothing whatever. Then they fall sick, or they begin to talk deliriously or to shout and dance. Our Divine Mother says, but if you are absolutely sincere and look at yourself clear sightedly, this cannot happen to you. For an experience which comes inappropriately like that is always the result of some pride or ambition or some lack of balance within, due to having neglected one part of the being for the benefit of another. Our Divine Mother says, those who think they can advance in yoga, those who think they can advance in integral yoga by leaving their body completely inert, their vital asleep, and their mind in a kind of stupefaction, for often what they call silence, get completely upset. You may be sure when an experience comes to them, they lose their head, they do extravagant things, or otherwise something very unfortunate happens to them. One must have a solid, well balanced body, well controlled vital, and a mind organized, supple, and logical. Then, if you are in a state of aspiration, you receive an answer, and all your being will feel enriched, enlarged, splendid, and you will feel perfectly happy. And you will not spill your cup because it is too full, like a clumsy fellow who doesn't know how to hold a full tumbler. It is like that, you see. It is as if you had a very small vase there, quite small, which will remain small if you do not take care of it to make it bigger. Then, if all of a sudden, if it is filled up with something which is too strong, everything overflows, says our Divine Mother. Question, sweet Mother. When the consciousness feels imprisoned within its too narrow external mold, what should be done? For this, our Divine Mother says, you must particularly not be violent. If you are violent, you will come out of it tired, exhausted, without any result. You must concentrate all the forces of aspiration. If you are conscious of the inner flame, you should put into this flame all that you find strongest in you by the way of aspiration, of a call, and hold yourself as quiet as you can, calling with a deep reliance that the answer will come. And when you are in this state, with your aspiration and concentrated force, with your inner flame, press gently upon this kind of outer crust, without violence but with insistence, as long as you can, without getting agitated. irritated or excited. You must be perfectly quiet, must calm. It will not succeed for the first time. You must begin again as many times as it is necessary, but suddenly one day you are on the other side. Then you emerge into an ocean of light. If you fight, if you are restless, if you struggle, you will get nothing at all. And if you become irritable, you will only get a headache, that's all. Yes, it is that. To gather all together all your powers of aspiration, make it something intensely concentrated in an absolute tranquility, to be conscious of your inner flame and throw into it all you can, that it may burn ever higher and higher, and then call with your consciousness. You are sure to succeed one day, says our Divine Mother. Question, sweet mother, in the case of some persons who turn to the divine, it happens that every material prop or everything that they are fond of is removed from their life, and if they love someone, he is also taken away. For this, our Divine Mother says, we enter here into a bigger problem. The notion of what is good for a being and what isn't is not the same to his evolved consciousness as to the divine consciousness. What appears to you good, favorable, is not always what's the best for you from a spiritual point of view. It is this which must be learned from the beginning, that the divine perception of what will lead you fastest to the goal is absolutely different from yours, and that you cannot understand it. That is why you must say to yourself from the beginning, it is all right, I shall accept everything and I shall understand later on. So, often you come across persons who, before they began integral yoga, have relatively easy life, and as soon as they come to integral yoga, practice integral yoga, all the circumstances to which they were particularly attached break away from them more or less brutally. Then they are troubled. They do not perhaps have the frankness to admit it to themselves. They perhaps take recourse to other thoughts, other words. But it comes to this: how is it I am good, I am not treated kindly? Our Divine Mother says the entire human notion of justice is there. You try to become good. What catalysms befall you? All the things you loved are taken away from you. All the pleasures you have had are taken away from you. All the people whom you loved leave you. It is indeed not worth the trouble to be good and to have made an effort. And if you follow your reasoning far enough, all of a sudden you come upon the canker. So, you wanted to do integral yoga out of self-interest. You wanted to do integral yoga out of self-interest. You wanted to be good out of self-interest. You thought your situation would be better and you would be given a bongon for your wisdom. And that doesn't happen. Well, this refusal is the best lesson that could be ever given to you. For as long as your aspiration hides a desire, as long as in your heart there is the spirit of bargaining with the divine, things will come and give you blows till you wake up to the true consciousness within you, which makes no conditions, no bargains. That's all. For this, the child says, Sweet mother, since the time I've begun doing yoga, I find that all my affairs are going better than before. For this, our Divine Mother says, Perhaps your aspiration was truly sincere and disinterested. In such a case, things must happen like that, says our Divine Mother.